York's very own muscle building coaches, Anthony Bevilacqua and Pete Kacharian, proudly present to you New York Muscle Radio.
What's up, guys? New York Muscle Radio, episode number 156. The age-old question I've heard hundreds of times as a trainer is, should I try and lose fat first, or should I gain muscle first? On today's episode, we're going to dive down deep into what you should do first as a beginner and why we believe that is more optimal for long-term gains. It's your host, Anthony Bevilacqua, alongside my co-host, Big Pete Kacharian. And if you're a new listener, welcome to the best muscle building fitness network, fat burning network ever. And remember, if you like what you hear, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Big guy, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Lots of stuff going on lately. Since we've been back from the Arnold, I feel like we have so many different projects going on all at once, and we're fitting it all in. So right now it's Friday night, and we're recording this next episode. So we always got to make time to do work, but a lot of good stuff going on. I'm excited for.
Yeah, that's what happens when you take a vacation, man. You always got to make sure you try to get things done beforehand, or you're playing catch up like we are afterwards. And it's just how it goes. It's part of it. That's why you can't go away, you know. But I feel like an
crazy,
old man.
yeah. The 3 days just threw us off so much. I agree.
I feel like an old man. I'm 30, gonna be 30 years old. It's 10 o'clock on a Friday night. I'm sitting on my computer with tea in my hand. I'm drinking tea and talking to you. I feel like an old man. Where is it? Boy, has my Friday night changed.
Yeah, that's crazy if you think about it like that. I have no tea, but I'm hanging out with you on Friday night. That's what we got going on right now.
Yeah, and we're going to talk all about what people should do. Have you ever heard that before, man? You know, when someone first starts the gym, it's like, should I just do cardio and lose fat, or should I try to like bulk up first? Like, you know, people, when I hear that question, I always shake my head because people actually think it's that easy, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've gotten that question so many times, and you know, the answer. Everyone thinks that there's a clear-cut answer, and we're gonna get into that obviously, but it all really depends on where you're at when you start and what your actual goals are. So, you know, there's a lot of things. That answer is really it depends. So we'll get into that for sure.
Yeah, but I've heard that question so many times, and so I was like, you know what? That's gonna make a good podcast because so many people I clearly don't know what they should do first. If they should lose fat, gain muscle. So I guess we'll make it clear. I mean, I would think going into the gym would be pretty simple. I mean, when I first started, I wanted to gain muscle.
Right.
It was pretty easy for me to understand. I can't see how someone could just go in the gym, I'm not sure what I should do first. It's like, well, either you feel too fat or you feel like you want to get bigger. I mean, it's one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has an ultimate goal. Like you said, when I joined the gym too, my main thing was I want to build muscle, you know, and so that was the goal. It was a very easy decision. But then you have people that start out, they might be skinny fat. They might have no muscle on them, but they're not necessarily in shape. So they got to focus on one thing. So it's always good to focus on the thing that you're going to be able to accomplish first, instead of trying to go for the harder thing. You know, you want to start off with what you can attain and then work on the next goal. So that's going to depend.
So funny, when I first joined the gym, you know, you first join a gym, they take you around on the tour.
Yeah.
So I got taken around on the tour and they make you fill out a questionnaire. So on the questionnaire, it was like, you know, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? So, of course, I hit gain muscle. And then it says, how much? I said 50 pounds. You know, here I am writing this down. I'm a little kid. I'm thinking it's easy. You know, I'm just going to work out for a little bit. It's easy to put on this weight, blah, blah, blah.
Like, give it like 3 years. I'll put 50 pounds of muscle on.
Yeah, I'll never forget the guy's, like, the salesman's face when he saw that. He's like, 50 pounds? I looked at him like, yeah, what's your problem, man? Like,
I remember actually being in a GNC when I first started training. And there was a guy in GNC looking to purchase a weight gainer, and he was speaking to the manager of GNC, and he was, you know, can you recommend a weight gainer? And the guy said, well, what's your goals? What are you trying to do? And he's like, I'm trying to put on about 30 pounds of muscle. And like the GNC owner looked at him and said, 30 pounds is a lot. And the guy starts laughing at the GNC manager as if like that was an outrageous thing to say. And the GNC manager's like, no, like really 30 pounds is a lot of muscle to put on, you know? So yeah, some people are pretty oblivious to that when they first start training.
When you first started training, man, did you start right away at a gym? Like, how did you start out? What did you do?
No, I started out, I mean, it was a pretty quick transition, but I might have started on my own I believe I started working out literally the summer before I turned 14. And at 14, you can join the gym. So I might have had a good 2 months because my birthday is in September. So I might have started 2 months before my 14th birthday. Most of my training was push-ups, dumbbells, and cardio because, like I said, when I first started training, I was just completely out of shape. So my first goal was just get in shape. And by that time, I really wanted to go to the gym and put muscle on, but I didn't have access to it. So I had to turn 14, join the gym on my 14th birthday, and then I started my muscle building gains,
Yeah, for me, I actually started at my house. I had purchased a little bench, and I bought a barbell and with weights, and I would have to, because I lived in an apartment at the time, so I didn't have a lot of space. So I'd have to literally pick up the bench, put it like at the foot of my bed with all the weights like underneath, like I'd have it nice and organized. And every time I want to use it, I have to pull the bench out, pull all the weights out, and then set everything up in my living room. So I'd literally have to like go from room to room with the bench. So I did that for about a good 6 months, and I actually got pretty good results out of that, actually. I even was able to do legs. I was so like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Motivated?
Besides motivated. What the hell is that called when you like, my mind is going so blank, man. I'm tired. When you do something and you're like, you're creative. What's the word I'm looking for here, man? Come on, help me out. I know you're tired too, but what the hell's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. You improvised?
Yes, I guess. I was I improvised, I guess. So, but
Okay,
I was
yeah.
very creative, and I was able to do a lot, with just a barbell and weights. And I had like, remember the screw-on weights?
Yeah. I remember those. Yeah.
So that's what it was. It was a long barbell with screw-on weights, and I would have the 2 dumbbell set. And I did a lot with it. I followed the Arnold routine for a while, and I was able to do legs, like I said. And I did that for a while. Then I realized that moving the bench in and out of my room was not the best setup. So I got a Bowflex. I saved money. I was a little kid. I was like 14 years old. I saved money, and I bought a Bowflex, which at the time was like $1,100. So I was working at the time, so I saved all my money, and that's what I bought. And thinking that was going to be my end-all, be-all, and I didn't have to join a gym. I guess from the beginning, I was so against joining a gym. I don't know why. I really don't know why.
See,
it's weird.
I wanted to join the gym, and I couldn't. That was my thing. I was like, I knew, okay, once I join the gym, all the gains are in that gym. I just need to get in the gym.
See, for me, that was never the case. So then I was using the Bowflex for a while, and I wasn't getting any bigger from the Bowflex, but I was noticing I was getting more ripped. So I don't know what that was about. I don't know. I think that was just for my diet. I probably wasn't eating enough.
I was going to say, it probably had something to do with your skinny boy genetics.
Yeah, so I was getting more ripped. So I'm like, this thing is not making me bigger. It's making me ripped. So then I joined the gym. So I joined the gym that was pretty far from me. I had a bike to it every day. So I would bike to the gym. And then one day I had a locker set up there. It was like one of those old school gyms where you get to set the locker up. So I set the locker up. I had all my shit in the locker. I locked the lock, and I would go every day, go to the gym, drive my bike back and forth. And the one day it was random summer day, get on my bike, go to the gym. Gym's closed down.
With all your shit still in the locker?
My shit in. I was pissed, man. And it was like my favorite belt at the time because, of course, I had one of those belts that like Arnold had, I even had like some supplements in there. At the time was like NO2 was a really big product. So I had that in there. It's like I lost all my stuff. So I was so pissed about that. So then I ended up having to join like a real gym. And the story goes from there. But I was always, it's so funny now that I think about it, I was always against joining the gym because I always felt like a gym would be a distraction for me. I always felt like I don't need to be in a gym. And look at me now, I don't have a gym. I have my own,
See, that was weird because it was the exact opposite for me. I just felt like if I had access to a gym, then I had access to what I needed to actually make the results that I was looking for. So that was my goal. I wanted to get into the gym as soon as possible, like I said. So I signed up on my 14th birthday because that was the earliest they would take me.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just funny. Like I said, I think being in the gym for me is just a distraction. Even now when I go to the gym, it's always a distraction for me. Like, you're squatting and someone like walks right in front of you, and I don't know. I like having my private space. I guess I'm a little spoiled when it comes to that.
I agree, but you got to think about it too. When we were 14 years old, how different were gyms than they are now?
Oh yeah, there was no women.
There was no women. There was,
and if they were, you didn't see them because they were only doing cardio.
Yeah,
and I was nowhere near that area.
And there was only 2 types of people in the gym. There was younger guys or middle-aged guys.
No, the bodybuilders with the pants, the parachute pajama pants.
Yeah. The bodybuilders or the aspiring bodybuilders, and then just the general weight loss people. That was it. There wasn't like You wouldn't walk into a gym, you wouldn't see a powerlifter, a CrossFitter, a fitness model, a soccer mom, and I don't know, like, a 15-year-old kid.
Instagram girl.
Just all in the same gym trying to get into the same squat rack. It just wouldn't happen. You would walk in the gym, the squat rack would be taken over by a guy who's squatting 4 plates. The soccer mom would be on the treadmill. And then, you'd find some young kids over by the dumbbells. That was pretty much how it was.
Isn't it so funny how much it evolved in such a short time, especially during when we started? Isn't that crazy when you think about it?
Massively different. Not even remotely close to how it used to be. Gyms don't even look the same anymore just because of the people that are in there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a good thing, right? It's more the general people coming. People are listening to New York Muscle Radio and the Bikini and Barbell Show, and they're getting more intrigued to get in the weight room and change their bodies. And now with our show, they know the truth, man. I mean, we have so many downloads. We've touched so many different people. It's crazy when you think about how many people actually listen to us talk.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I love the fact that, that it has been able to evolve over time to where the average person can get something out of it as well. Like I said, it's not just bodybuilders anymore. But, I always think that the way everything in life works, everything eventually kind of just like goes in a circle, comes around full circle.
It goes full circle, yeah.
So I have a feeling, we're going through this massive phase right now where it's Instagram and fitness, and the average population is just obsessed with it. I have a feeling in maybe 10 years from now, fitness is going to be one of those things where people are almost like beyond fitness now.
Like, what do you think it's going to be?
I'm not really sure.
Are you predicting the future here, big guy?
Yeah. So yeah, you know what, guys, listen to this.
Let's mark this down. So it's March 10th at 10:05 p.m. Pete's prediction is, drum roll.
So you know how right now the big thing with social media is be an entrepreneur, live a freedom lifestyle, don't work a 9-to-5 job, and all this stuff. I think that fitness is going to be like that in 10 years, where people are like,
everyone do fitness.
Everyone's going to be beyond fitness now, where it's don't worry about your body image. Stop holding yourself to this image. Stop worrying so much about this. Just live your life. Be happy. Be healthy. That type of thing. It's going to get very, very hippie-ish. And then I think it's going to come back full circle and kind of start off where it was. That's my prediction.
Man, I don't think that fitness will ever die. I mean, people are always going to try to. I understand what you're saying with the whole body image thing.
Yeah.
I think that people will. I think that trend is starting to happen.
That's what I'm saying.
It more and more on Instagram. But I don't think that the gyms are going to die down.
I don't think it's going to die.
That's going to happen.
I think people are going to look at fitness a little bit differently, though. They're going to look at it.
I mean, I see a huge trend. People are definitely changing the way they think of fitness now, and it's more known to work out in order to get a good body. Where years ago this wasn't the case. I was talking to my daughter's teacher actually, and she just recently started losing weight, and she's like, "Oh, I want to come see you because I want to start working out now." She's just focusing on diet, at the time, and she wants to start lifting weights. So now she even intuitively she knows. This is a woman that has no idea about anything with fitness. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she's saying, I need to work out in order to better myself and get in better shape than what I'm already getting. So that's a plus. A couple of years ago, I couldn't talk to a random woman about what was going on unless they were into it.
It's crazy. Yeah, it was true. Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, I don't know too many females with gym memberships.
It's true. It's true. Now everybody has it. Yeah. And it's so funny, too. If you start to look around for it, you could see it. Today, I was picking my daughter up from school today, and I happened to, there's a sign-in board when you come in to sign your kid in and out. So a woman walked in after me, and she went to sign the board, and on her keychain, I noticed the key ring for the gym.
Yeah.
I was and it was Planet Fitness. I'm like, oh, she goes to Planet Fitness. But it was just funny, you spot little things here and there. Like I said, when I started, no one was into fitness.
No.
No, not that. And I wouldn't see that ever.
Right. Yeah, it would be a little oh, you go to the gym. Now it's if you don't go to the gym, it would be weird,
Mm-hmm. Oh, man, my tea. I don't know, my throat was bothering me a little bit before, so I'm like, let me have some tea.
You're an old man.
Yeah. I enjoy a good cup of tea.
So
the funny thing is, this isn't even tea that I'm drinking. I'm drinking, we mentioned this on the Bikini and Barbell Show with Laura, the apple cider vinegar tea.
Okay, yeah.
So it's basically apple cider vinegar, a drop of lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and cinnamon. I don't know. It just tastes good. It sounds weird. It's supposed to be like a detox drink, but I guess I'm detoxing my body right now. But I don't know. I just like to drink it. It tastes good, and there's no caffeine in that. I can't have tea at night. I'll be wired all night.
Yeah, and I can't drink any apple cider vinegar because somebody took my bottle and threw it out the window in the middle of the street, so I have no apple cider vinegar.
Dude, man, don't make me sound like you. First of all, so we're packing the car for Ohio. We didn't tell the story. We didn't tell another story too. We tell right after this. So we're packing the car for Ohio, and we rented a minivan because it was 5 guys. So yes, we were in a soccer mom car on the way to Ohio. So rented the minivan, packed the back, and Pete brought his apple cider vinegar with him along with the rest of his supplements. So he puts it in a drawstring bag and puts it on top of the luggage in the back. Closes the door, the trunk. I didn't see that he did this. I had no idea. So now we pick up the last kid, and he has to put his stuff in the back. So I hop out of the car to help him, and I go around. I open the thing, and out falls Pete's bag. Like I just opened it, and it fell right out, and cracked all over the floor. Apple cider vinegar was everywhere.
And covered the entire bag, everything, all the supplements that were in it. And I needed all the other supplements.
This was within the first 5 minutes of the trip.
Yeah, typical, very, very typical. So yeah, everything got soaked with apple cider vinegar. We had to leave the apple cider vinegar behind, unfortunately, but the other supplements had to come. So we had a nice smelling apple cider vinegar van ride all the way to Ohio.
All right, so Pete, can you pull up that clip?
I can.
All right, pull up the clip. I'll tell the story. You want me to tell the story and you play it?
Yeah, sure. I might have to, depending how loud this is, if it's loud enough, I might have to go back and edit this and boost the audio. So if you guys can't hear it, it's because I got lazy and I didn't go back and boost the audio. But
which is a very common thing that you may do. But you want me to explain the story first?
Yeah, give them a little idea of what's going on, because this is a video. You really need to see it. But if you get an idea, you can interpret it based on the audio.
All right, so basically we're in the car now, and for those of you that live in New York, you know about the Belt Parkway. The Belt Parkway is a highway that connects Queens, Long Island, just mostly Queens actually, Queens, Brooklyn, and it goes into the Verrazano Bridge into Staten Island. So the Belt Parkway is known as a parking lot. It's always traffic on it no matter what time of day it is. So we're on our way to Ohio. We have to pass through the Belt Parkway. So we're in traffic, and I'm driving at the time. So I'm literally dead stop in traffic. So one of my buddies is a police officer, so he said, let me just drive because I'll just go around all this traffic because obviously he can't get a ticket. It's a very dick move, but he's a cop, so that's what happened. So
yeah, you're giving the NYPD a bad name here.
So anyway, you can always edit that out if you really feel that way.
I don't care. I'm not. I'm just.
So we're dead stopped in traffic, and and my friend screams out in the back, do the Chinese fire drill. So Chinese fire drill is when the driver and the passenger switch seats while driving. So we're in dead stop traffic. So I put the car in park and I hop over. He hops over. And as this is happening, traffic starts moving up. So now we have a big gap between the front of us. So as he hops over into the driver's seat, he must have hit, in a minivan, there's buttons everywhere. So he must have hit one of the buttons that opened the automatic side doors. So old doors. As he sits down and puts the car in drive and slams on the gas in order to catch up, the doors are sliding open, and we just all start hysterical laughing because now the doors are open. Then we hear screaming from the back because Pete was sitting all the way in the back. The luggage. So the trunk ended up opening, and the luggage went all over the Belt Parkway. Again, so this was like 15 minutes after Pete's apple cider vinegar thing. So already within a half hour, this trip is already fucked.
Oh, man. Yeah, and the worst part about it was you guys had no idea that the luggage fell out until I'm screaming, the luggage, because you guys were just going to leave it there. And so we got a good maybe 50 feet, almost 100 feet before we actually stopped to get the luggage.
Backed up and picked it up. It was just a crazy thing right here. This is the audio clip. It's hard to listen to, so he may have to go back and edit it, but see if you guys can listen to it.
Chinese fire drill. Oh shit! Oh shit!
There's the door opening. The luggage. And then he actually stopped recording at this point. I wish he would have got this on video because this would have went viral on YouTube, man. Oh man, I wish I could record from my eyelids.
You can't make this shit up, man.
No, man, you really couldn't. So within the first half hour of the trip, we knew we were fucked.
We didn't even make it to Staten Island from Queens. We left from Queens before Staten Island. We already had apple cider vinegar explosions. We had our luggage on the Belt Parkway. That's typical. That's typical.
There had to be something wrong with the car because there's no way you're able to shift into drive with everything opening like that.
I know. That's what I said.
Doors open.
That's what I said. That has to be a safety feature where those doors won't open like that if the car's moving.
Oh my god! But that was probably the funniest thing, man. That was definitely the highlight of the trip. Laughing. We must have laughed for a good 45 minutes after that, straight from that point on.
All I know is if I didn't say anything about the luggage, you guys would have got to Ohio with no bags.
No, you would eventually realize that the fucking door was open.
You would have realized. You guys were not quick to realize, that's for sure.
I would have been pissed, man, because my gym bag fell out of there. So my squat shoes, my belt, all my stuff. It was my luggage and that too. And who else's stuff fell out? Did yours fall out?
No, mine didn't. What's funny though, and I said this before, if you didn't actually drop my apple cider vinegar before we had this incident, if those things opened, the first thing that would have flew out the back was the apple cider vinegar. It would have exploded the glass bottle all over the Belt Parkway. It probably would have hit a car. So it was almost like it was meant to be when you opened up the van door and dropped it before that, because if not, it was gonna fly right out and hit a car.
So I guess the takeaway message here is, guys, don't do the Chinese fire drill. Avoid doing that at all costs, or you'll lose your luggage outside on the highway.
Do you want to get the results you've always dreamed of? Do you want coaches that genuinely care, are professional, and get back to you in a timely manner? Do you want to be stronger, healthier, and look better naked? Then let me tell you, New York Muscle Radio is definitely your answer. Since working with them, I can hardly believe the results.
They coached me through a post-contest reverse diet and all the way through to an off-season strength program.
These two fitness geniuses have pushed me outside of my comfort zone, and in the process, I have been able to make big jumps on all of my major lifts.
In 14 weeks, I added 100 pounds to my powerlifting total and smashed my first meet.
Since working with them, I've added 55 pounds to my squat, 50 pounds to my deadlift, and 20 pounds to my bench press.
And in 12 weeks, I dropped over 10 pounds of body fat and added over 20 pounds to all my lifts.
I have never had as amazing of glutes as I have training with them. So I can say, no matter what your goals are, you're guaranteed to be stronger, healthier, and let's face it, better looking if Pete and Anthony are your coaches.
So if you are tuning in to listen and learn from the huge array of knowledge these two have, or if you want to hire them as your coaches, you will not be disappointed.
New York Muscle Radio is the best in the business.
You heard it from our New York Muscle Radio clients. Do you want to join our team and reach your fitness goals? Visit NewYorkMuscleRadio.com for all our coaching programs.
All right, moving on, man. So I wanted to talk about, I was going to make this a trending topic, but I couldn't. I was so excited I had to spew it out early. So Lenny and Larry, those stupid cookies that I've been telling people, so many people eat them. I mean, they're good. I've had them before, of course, but so many people have been eating them, and I'm just like, I never really was a fan of them. They're good. Like I said, I've had them before, but I kind of knew something was off with them. Like I had an intuitive feeling about them. Like, First of all, I think the whole cookie has 16 grams of protein. So for me, it's like nothing anyway. And it's like mostly carbs. Well, there's a class action suit filed against them for fraudulent label claims. And we've talked about this hundreds and hundreds of times. And we'll talk about our supplements in a minute. But we've talked about this hundreds and hundreds of times that it's so hard to trust companies. These cookies claim to have 8 grams of protein. They were tested to only have 4. 4, dude. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, so just like I would have guessed, it's really just a cookie. It's not if you have a cookie, you're going to have some trace protein in it as well. There's no protein source in it whatsoever. It's just trace sources of protein. And again, it's advertised and marketed as a protein cookie. I've actually never even had one, to be honest with you, because...
Really?
Yeah, same thing with you. Intuitively, I just knew it was junk. I heard this, and I don't know if this was somebody made this up or whatever, but I heard that because originally when they first came out, I looked at it and it was full of soy protein, and that was another reason why I didn't eat it. But I heard that they had to reformulate it and they took the soy protein out or something like that.
Whenever I started eating them, then they already had done that.
So they actually did take that out?
Yeah, there was no soy, no gluten.
What I'm going to assume...
I forgot what else wasn't in there.
So what I'm going to assume is originally when they came out, it might have had that protein in it, and it was soy protein because, again, soy protein is very cheap. That's why most, mainstream or big companies will, if they make a protein product, will use soy protein just because it's very cheap. If you get maybe like a Special K protein bar or a Kellogg's protein bar or something like that, a lot of times they just throw soy protein in it because it's very cheap.
Well, besides the fact that those things don't even have a lot of protein in anyway. Like a Kellogg's bar has like 11.
Exactly. So I'm going to assume if this was the case with Lenny and Larry's cookies, which I'm just going to assume, I'm not saying this is facts or anything, but so when they first came out, they had soy protein in it. They might have had the 8 grams of protein or whatever it was. Then when they had to reformulate it, they apparently they switched the protein sources. They made it gluten-free. I'm going to assume they just took the soy protein out of it and didn't replace it with anything. So they still advertise it as having protein. But again, just like most supplement companies, unfortunately, they'll tell you what you want to hear, but they won't actually follow through with it. So they were just selling cookies and advertising them as protein cookies.
Yeah, sad because I know so many people that eat them. And again, I knew intuitively though. First of all, they didn't taste like they had protein in it. You kind of know what protein tastes like.
Right, of course.
I kind of intuitively knew, like, I don't know. I mean, they're good. Don't get me wrong, they're good, but I would never eat them when dieting anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not a good source of protein anyway. It's just not. It's really a snack that just so happens to have protein in it. If it did, it's not. It shouldn't be used the way people use it as a supplement. I'll have a Lenny and Larry's cookie and fit it in my macros. It's more just like a little anomaly, but I never even bother with it, and I never would recommend that to anybody to begin with anyway.
All right, well, we have an announcement. If you guys are on our email list, we have already spoken to you guys this because anyone on our email list is a VIP, a New York Muscle Radio VIP. So if you guys want to sign up for that, just head on over to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com. A pop-up should pop up, and you'll get added to our list. Again, we always reiterate things from the podcast on there. I'm basically just emailing you guys something, once a week. Just a little say hello kind of. So anyway, so the VIPs already know about this, but we have launched finally NYMR Sups. We are proud to announce, and we mentioned this on the last episode, actually the one before that, about the Taxidrol, which is our testosterone booster. But finally it came in, our branched chain amino acid product. I am so excited about this because, again, like the Lenny and Larry cookies, I'm always afraid for things to be fake. I'm so petrified of that because I've been a victim of it before. A popular branched chain amino acid product that I've used in the past actually got flagged for being just crystal light and a little bit of aminos. So it's scary. I was using so much of it because I like the idea of branched chain amino acids. Branched chain amino acids are really good, especially when it comes to muscle building and even for retaining muscle during a cut. And, it gets to your system very quickly. I mean, we'll go over that in a second, but once I found out that it was flagged, I'm like, F this, man. I'm not even going to bother. I'll just diet. But now that I have it in my possession and I know what's in it, we did a certificate of analysis on it. We checked the label claim. We had it tested. We know what's in it. And I'm so excited to be using this again. I actually did a couple of videos on my Facebook and Instagram at AB Fitness, and even on the New York Muscle Radio Instagram, of me taking it to the dome. I think that's so funny. I actually like it. I think it tastes good that way. And it makes it so easy because sometimes you just don't want to drink something. If you're dieting, which I am now, like if I get a little hungry, I'll just drink. I'll make a shake and I'll drink it quick. I'll add some ice to it. And it's a really good, in-between thing. We have a blue raspberry flavor of the branched chain amino acid, so I love it. So I'll just literally add water and ice to it and add that in. And it does actually keep me pretty full. So, again, I'm taking it to the dome. I love it. It's so easy, convenient, gets right to my system. So that is available on NewYorkMuscleRadio.com. If you click on that products tab, you can head on over and pick those up. Again, alongside our Taxidrol product, which is another amazing product. We're basically hoping that this thing actually ends up being a replacement for hormone replacement therapy for guys who don't want to go on hormone replacement therapy and take nasty drugs.
Yeah, I'm really excited for both these products too. Like you said, the amino acids, I have the same exact story with you. That same exact company, actually, I spent so much money on over years, just because it was just such a highly respected company that if I was going to buy amino acids.
Yeah, but I told you, didn't I tell you when I told you the story that it sounded like something was wrong?
Yeah, unfortunately,
like it didn't taste like aminos. Aminos kind of always have that little bit of a taste.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate that's what happens because a product like that, amino acids, they're very, very, very beneficial. But if you're not taking in amino acids, you're not getting any benefit from it. So most people who are using amino acids, they'll say, oh, like I use it. It didn't do anything for me. Well, that's probably because you're not actually supplementing with BCAAs. You think you are, but you're just drinking Crystal Light, But for anybody who has done dieting phases with amino acids, gaining phases with amino acids, they can see the difference if they use them properly. Because, again, it's another one of those supplements where there's a time and place for them, and, there's a time when you're just going to waste them. So if used properly, you will get the benefits from it. My most favorite way to incorporate branched amino acids into my diet and my nutrition plan is always intro workout. Just because, especially when I'm going longer with my workouts and I'm not in a fed state, BCAA's intro workout is going to help fuel that workout. And you could always feel it. If you're actually consuming a good branched chain amino acid and you have it intro workout with a long workout, you can feel it. Your pump will last longer. You'll feel a little more energetic. You'll feel stronger. You won't feel as worn out. And especially if you add a little bit of intro workout carb in there too, you get a great recipe for some muscle building gains and, fat loss. It's just going to help you that much more. So again, like you said, I'm really excited to be using a product that we both know is legitimate and we know exactly what's in there. I'm not leaving it up to chance because like anything else we use, I'm always, in the back of my mind, well, I hear this protein company is good. I hear this company is good. I'll use their protein powder, but who knows? Maybe I'm not even drinking the protein. Maybe it's all dextrose because people do that.
Yeah, it's sad and scary. You know what's funny? That now that we have our own, it's a good thing, man. I'm so excited to actually be using them again. And I don't want to sound like that guy, but I'm going to sound like that guy because it's true. I actually feel like my recovery is better since I've been using it. It's been a couple of days now since I've been using it. I know it's still early to tell, but each scoop of BCAAs contains 5 grams of protein. So if I take, 5 scoops in a day, that's 25 grams of the BCAAs that I need instantly into my system. When you take branched chain amino acids, it doesn't take any time to convert to. So if you have a whey protein shake, your body has to digest it and whatnot in order to get those aminos in. This is just kind of instantaneous, so it gets to your muscles really quickly. So I recommend using them in the morning. I usually take a scoop to the dome in the morning as soon as I wake up, and then I'll do 1 before my workout. I'll do 2 after my workout, and then I'll do 1 again before bed. That's usually how I've been spacing it out. And then if I get hungry while dieting, I'll literally, like I said, I'll fill up a shaker bottle with water and ice, and I'll just add a scoop of that in there, shake it up. And that actually does curb my appetite.
Yeah,
you ever done that before?
Yeah, absolutely, it will. And that's the good thing about BCAAs that you mentioned too, because a lot of people don't understand how they work. I was telling you this earlier. I heard some crazy description of what a BCAA product does when we were at the Arnold, and I thought it was pretty funny. Some guy was just clueless when it came to what BCAAs actually do.
As most people are with that, a lot of things.
Yeah, but that's the biggest thing, because people always say, well, if I drink a whey protein shake, then I'm going to get enough BCAAs in it anyway because there's aminos in the protein shake, or if I'm eating food or whatever, there's aminos or whatever. Like you said, they don't require digestion. So if you consume them during your workout, it doesn't have to pass through your stomach. It doesn't have to, well, it has to pass through your stomach, but it doesn't have to digest through your whole system just to get those amino acids into the bloodstream the way if you were doing a whey protein shake or if you're eating food. So if you take them in the middle of your workout or you take them right before or right after, you're going to be good to go. In the middle of the workout, if you sip on them, it's going to fuel you throughout the workout, and you're not going to have to worry about digestion. So that's why it's so much more beneficial than just having a whey protein shake. So there's a time and place for whey protein, and obviously, but intra workout when you need amino acids in the system very, very fast, you can't replace a BCAA product.
Couldn't agree more. So if you guys want to head on over there and support us and everything that we're doing here at New York Muscle Radio and support the idea of putting out real products, head on over to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com, click on that products tab, and you'll see all of our line of supplements that we have there. We got caffeine, we got our BCAAs, and we have Taxidrol. And we got other things coming and other things in the works. But again, guys, this stuff is really expensive to do. It's not easy. We're doing this out of our own pockets. We don't have big investors, and we don't have a big bankroll to do this. So in order to get all these testing done, it's not cheap, but we do it because we want to make sure we're putting out a good quality product. All right, man, let's move on to the quote of the day. So this quote is by our 45th president, Donald Trump, who we just lost half our listeners right now.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, this is it's a little taboo one. I haven't actually listened to this yet. So
Hold on. So This quote he said way before he was president. This was probably like in the 80s. So this is like from the 80s. So this is way before he's president. So this is so if you don't like Donald Trump as president, this was before that.
Yeah, and I'm
So hang on, guys.
I'm hearing this for the first time too, guys. So I'm right here with you. I don't know if this is going to be something I agree with or disagree with, but let's hear it.
Pete's gonna riot.
For all the people out there who want to touch you, who want to come and stand by your building and thinking perhaps maybe the luck will run off, all the people who are reading Art of the Deal, hoping to find some answer that will satisfy their own desire for success, are you just a phenomenon? Is it possible for everybody to be what you've become?
No, it's not, but it's possible for a lot of people to become successful and even very successful. I mean, you have to be given, and this is where luck comes in. You have to be born lucky in the sense that you have to have the right genes to go out, and if it's in my business, if it's making deals, if it's to become Jack Nicklaus or Chris Everett or Martina or
Let me ask you this.
You have to have a certain gene.
Do you think you would have done this if you'd been born in a ghetto someplace? If you'd started out with zip?
I would like to think that I would have been successful. I mean, it's better starting out. I had a father who was in the real estate business in Brooklyn and Queens, and I had a little base, and I have a wonderful father, and I learned a lot from him. So I had a certain, I had an advantage. I'd like to think that I would have been successful, whether it was owning a chain of stores or even owning a store or doing something. I think I would have been successful. I've often thought about that. If I started out with a lot less, where would I be? And I think, I'd like to say proportionately I'd be as successful, but who knows, really?
Yeah, so that's a cool quote. He was on Oprah for that. We forgot to mention that. So that was Oprah talking to him. This was in the 80s, so you can even tell his voice is different. But I just think it's cool. One thing that we talk about all the time is work ethic. And I actually put out a post on Facebook and Instagram before. I'm going to pull it up and read it because I think it's so true. And this is kind of like how I view my own stuff. So this is what I wrote. So this is the most important post you'll read all day. Start treating yourself as a professional athlete, no matter what your goal is. Approach it as an athlete would approach their sport. Lots of people don't take their goals seriously. Just saying things like, I want to lose weight won't get you there. Let's look at pro football players. They practice their sport for hours leading up to the game. Then immediately after the game, they watch hours of footage to learn and assess what they can improve. Any athlete treats their nutrition and recovery as a job. I know what you're probably saying. Well, they get paid to do that. You're right, but it's their priority, and this is how they get better. They take every aspect of their sport as serious as the actual game. In order for you to take yourself to the next level, you need to do the same. Me, for example, I want to get better in powerlifting, so I video all my lifts, not to see how great I look. I do it so I can spot mistakes and correct them. I video from all different angles in order to see what's going on and what can be improved. These videos are from my eyes only, and I use them as reference. If you want to get better at something, you can't just go through the motions. You need to take different data points, track them, and then look back to assess what can be done better. Treat yourself as a professional athlete and treat your goal as if you were getting paid for it. I promise doing this will lead to a 10x improvement.
Yeah, so I agree. I mean, there's not really much to add to that. The only thing I want to say is, if you're talking about successful people, whether it's Donald Trump or not or anybody, the thing that separates them, and obviously what he just mentioned on there too, is they're always willing to do what they have to do to no
matter what their circumstances.
Yeah, it's whatever has to be done, they're willing to do. That's what successful people do. It's not a matter of if they have it given to them or if they have to work for it or whatever the situation is. Whatever they have to do, they'll do it to get the job done.
Yeah, and I looked at actually a study of successful people. I read this study. I forgot what it was called, the study, but this was a while ago that I read this. And one of the common traits that they have with anyone who was successful was having grit, having that ability to just keep going no matter what and focusing on one thing and just keep going no matter what, no matter who told them not to, no matter how many failures they had. Walt Disney was bankrupt 3 times. We still talk about that motherfucker today. He's been dead for 30 years, I think. Something like that, 30 years. We still talk about him. So in order to leave that kind of legacy behind, you got to leave no stone unturned and just keep going, just keep pushing forward. And like I said in my post, if you want to lose weight, you have to look at yourself as like a real, take it as a job. This is I'm an athlete. This is what I have to do. I have to do everything. Like I said in my post, football players, they treat their nutrition seriously. They treat their recovery seriously. I mean, these guys, they go through cryotherapy, all different types of massage and cupping and all these different types of modalities in order to recover better because they want to get better. And it's the same thing with you. If your goal is just to lose weight, you're the average person listening to this and you want to lose weight, you have to take that as seriously as possible. Weigh yourself every day. Take measurements every day. Make it a job. I understand there's other things in life that come up, Believe me, I've heard every excuse in the book. I have a daughter, I have a house, I have a wife, I have other responsibilities, I have bills I have to pay, and it's not easy for me. I still struggle with this because I want to get better. If you want to get better at something, it's never going to get easier. And that's what I think most people don't understand is that it's never going to get easier. You think it's easy for Donald Trump right now? He's the president. It's not easy for him, and it never will be easy for him. And even when he's done being president and goes back to being a businessman, it's still not going to be easy. There's always going to be something he has to going to be overcoming.
Yeah, that's the thing. People always think that eventually things get easy. Things never get easier. They're always things that you need to work for, that you want to accomplish. It's always going to require you to do things that aren't easy. It's always going to require you to do things that you might not want to do. But that's the difference. The difference is with people that are successful, or they do those things regardless if they want to do them or not, because they know, okay, this needs to be done to get where I want to be. So they just do them. It's all about just taking action, doing it, and moving on. That's what it is.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more, man.
But I'll tell you what, when I'm done, my biceps are humongous. Humongous. Like that bang.
My name is Anthony Bevilacqua, and I'm the host of New York Muscle Radio podcast. My arms have been a weak point for years. When I started training, my arms measured 11 inches. Even after many years of hardcore training, nothing would get them to grow. With the help of my co-host, Big E, we set out on a mission to gain 1 solid inch to my arms in 12 weeks.
In the greatest experiment of all.
12 weeks later, this program finally helped me get 18-inch arms. The 12-week arm experiment, the ultimate arm growth program, ebook, the audiobook, and the workout video. Pick up your copy now on NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
Hey, great coffee.
Doesn't it taste good as fresh perk?
Better.
Better than those girls make at the office?
Honey, their coffee can't hold a candle to yours.
Caffeine, the world's only instant coffee that's fortified with muscle-building protein. Visit buyproteincoffee.com now.
All right, let's move on to the trending fitness topic. This is a cool one, man. This is a really quick one, so it's not going to be too long, but Arnold Schwarzenegger is looking to get back into politics. So the California governor is considering running for U.S. Senate in 2018. So Arnold one step closer to becoming president, even though we all know he can't become president, but that was his goal. And he would love to become president. I'm pretty sure if he wasn't an immigrant, he would have already became president. But he's running for U.S. Senate.
Yeah, knowing him, he probably has some type of idea or master plan that he's going to change everything so one day he can become president, even though that won't happen. Just him with his mentality, I'm sure there's part of him that's trying to put something together, or at least hoping.
Yeah, there's no way he could become president, though. He's not a citizen.
No,
I mean, he's a citizen. He's not you know what I mean?
No, right.
Not legally born here.
But knowing him, he'll at least, the way his mind probably works, he's got some type of master plan.
It's just crazy how he just went from one thing to the next, and was just successful in them. It's like, how the fuck did he do that? I guess, like we said, like having grit. He started with bodybuilding and just no matter how many people told him not to, he just kept going and kept going. And then went from acting. Everyone told him, no, you can't do it. And he just kept pursuing it. I do think, though, that there's one thing to keep pursuing it, but then there's one thing to kind of fall into the opportunities. I do think that certain people, I hate to say it's luck. Because it's not luck, but I do think like there's a time and place for everything. Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he was with Franco Colombo, decided to start a business on the side, and they started doing brickwork. So they start doing brickwork. They start this company. Literally a week after they start the company, there's a huge earthquake in California, and people need brickwork. It's like, what are the odds of that happening?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely luck. But, there's also something to be said about having delusional confidence. And whether his confidence is delusional or not, it could definitely be.
It worked.
Yeah, it could definitely be considered delusional at some point, because I don't think there's ever a time where he said to himself, where he thought to himself he couldn't do something, or I don't think there's ever a time when he honestly didn't think he was the best at anything, even something he never did before. His confidence was just always, I could do that. I'm the best. I can move on to the next thing, and I will. And there's something to be said about that, because a lot of times people will be realistic and say, okay, this person's probably better than me. He's been doing it longer. But, if you have that mentality that you're the best at everything you do, you got to think about it. Yeah, it's delusional, but you know what? If you keep telling yourself that for that long, how can
That
you
whole
possibly
thing, fake it till you make it?
Yeah, how could you possibly fail if you really believe it though? There's a difference between fake it till you make it and actually having delusional confidence where you actually believe it. There's a difference between belief and faking it, you know? They can look like the same thing on the surface, but if you honestly believe, okay, now I took over bodybuilding, now I'm going to go into acting, and I'm going to be the best and highest paid actor. If you honestly believe that, how do you think that's going to translate when you go for your acting, auditions or whatever it is that you do? If you actually believe it, there's a difference between faking it and actually believing it. I think there's something to be said about that delusional confidence helping him get to where he is today.
Well, I mean, I said it all the time with this podcast that this fitness network that we're building, that it's going to be way bigger than us one day. And I know it's going to be because we're putting out real solid information, and it's just a matter of time and just grit, keep going, you know?
Yeah, I mean, but I wouldn't even consider that delusional confidence because there's actually a legitimate reason why that statement is true, and it is because we actually do put out, from what I know, I don't know any other resource that puts out that the amount of legitimate content that we do. So it's
I'd like to think that we're the bridge between science and practicality.
Yeah, I don't think there's as much practicality in anything that I've seen in our field, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely, there's either some people who are way too much with the science and have no muscle to back that up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you have one on one end and one on the other. You have the typical bro and then you have the scientist.
Yeah.
You know, I like to think that New York Muscle Radio is that gap between the two that brings in the stuff that works from both sides.
Yeah, I mean, and we had this conversation today. This is a little off topic, but it just is very valid for what we're talking about. Even with like medicine, the way medicine works on paper, and then you start experimenting with humans or with rats or anything, and then doctors will prescribe drugs and know that these drugs work better than what they were designed for. So it's like people within the fitness industry, when they look at science, that can give you an idea, but you're not really going to know what the protocol is going to result in until you start using it with people. So you start getting enough practicality, a lot of feedback. So just reiterating research papers and what the science shows, it's a good starting point, but until you've actually applied that, you're not going to know what the result is.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man, let's keep this moving. So let's move on to the New York Muscle Radio Muscle Meal segment. So this is what we're excited about. This is our new segment where we talk about different foods that we like to eat that help fit our macros, and just give you guys an idea of how to change things up and keep things kind of fresh. So today I want to talk about lean tacos. I love making tacos, man. You have taco night in your house?
Taco Tuesday, man.
Do you have taco night though, or you don't use the seasoning?
Taco is when I feel like having tacos. Yeah, no, I use seasoning. I love tacos, man. I'm just big with a ton of cheese and guac, man.
Really?
I love cheese and guac. Meat, cheese, and guac.
It's so funny that, and then when we go to Chipotle, you don't get any of that on there.
I don't. You know why? Because Chipotle has so much fat in it to begin with that you can't eat. But if you put that guac on there, you may as well just not eat fat for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
Because if you get a burrito, if I go to Chipotle, I normally get a burrito. I get the chicken. I get double meat chicken. I get beans. I get the rice. That right there, because the burrito itself has a bunch of fat in it, I guess because of the oil or whatever they cook it in. I'm not sure offhand, but you're looking at like 20 or 30 grams of fat. If you start throwing the guac in there, you're up to 50 grams of fat easily.
Yeah, easily.
Now, if you make the lean tacos at home, you could have the cheese, you could have the double meat, you could have the guac, and you could still keep it under 15.
The triple meat if you wanted to.
Yeah, you could keep it under 15 grams of fat.
It's funny. I have a client, and he was talking to me about Moe's. You ever been to Moe's?
Yeah, a couple times.
He was saying he swears that it's better than Chipotle. And then today,
I know people that say that. Yeah.
I saw an article today online that said like Moe's outbeats Chipotle in taste. I'm like, really? Because I had Moe's before. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I like Chipotle better than Moe's, to be honest with you. But I can see it. I can see it going either way, to be honest with you.
It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's not like...
I think Moe's gives you a tad bit more food.
Yeah, I was just about to say, actually, Moe's, you'll end up getting a little more food than at Chipotle. At Chipotle, they're very stingy with that meat. When you say double meat or single meat, it's so bad.
How horrible was that?
Oh, man, I asked for double meat, and I might have got a normal size of meat in there when I ordered double.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, man. So anyway, lean tacos. So how I usually make my lean tacos, I'll get my ground beef, turkey, or chicken, because they actually sell that ground chicken, which is pretty lean. 98 I usually pick up. So I'll pick my meat, what I usually want, and the percent grade of fat. Again, it's going to depend if I'm bulking or cutting. If I'm trying to gain some weight and I want some calories in, I'll go with a fattier meat. If I'm trying to lose weight and I just want it for the taste, I'll go with something a little leaner. 98, 99 I've done, which is all good, so they all work. So I take that, I brown the meat, I add in taco seasoning as if I was making real tacos. I just don't cook it in oil. I cook it with Pam spray so it eliminates all that fat. And then I just make it like I normally would regular tacos. I usually get, they have like these little 100-calorie tortillas, which are really good for dieting. Even like a flat out would work too. But I usually get those 100-calorie tortillas. I forget what company makes it. I can't remember off my head. But I usually get those. Or I'll make a bowl, and I'll literally just put rice and the meat together. And then, like my co-host said here, I get some fat-free cheese, which saves a ton of calories. If I want guac, I'll make my own guac. And I just use salsa. Pretty much I just like to use salsa, fat-free cheese, a little bit of lettuce and that stuff. And I like to make it out of a bowl. I like burritos, but I can't roll them for shit in my own house. Like I can't roll them. So I like to put it in a bowl because for me it's just easier to eat. And it's usually like when I get Chipotle too, it ends up falling apart and I end up eating it like a bowl too. So usually that's what I do. Oh, and I also get fat-free sour cream too, which is really good actually. It tastes like sour cream.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you save the calories. But again, it depends if you're trying to gain weight or trying to lose weight. If you're trying to gain, you can end up having the other stuff too. You just got to watch your overall fat intake. But I usually try to stick with the fat-free alternatives, and it just works out really good. You put sour cream in any of your taco stuff?
Yeah, sometimes. I'm more of a guac. I like the guac a little more, but sometimes I'll actually use a little fat-free sour cream, so just a little bit.
Really good. Sometimes it has that good texture and like different flavor to it.
Yeah. What about you ever do nachos? Because sometimes I'll take the same exact recipe and I'll dump it on top of some nachos.
You know what I'll do instead of the nachos? I actually do it over French fries. You ever do that?
I've never done that before, actually.
Oh, dude, what I do is I make the French fries. Like I get the French fries in the bags. You could do even sweet potato fries too, but I don't know if it would be as good. Actually, it is. I've had it before. So I make the French fries. I put them in the bowl, right? And then I take my meat that I've made and whatever other accoutrement, I put it on top. And then I sprinkle the cheese on top and I put it in the microwave so the cheese melts. Oh, dude, it's so good.
Damn, man.
So good.
I think I'm going to make a burrito
that's way
tonight.
better than nachos.
I don't know. I haven't tried that before, but I usually do the nachos. So I'll get like low-fat or fat-free Tostitos and just, take the meat, sauce, cheese, all that.
Tostitos?
I've actually...
what you're talking about.
They have baked. Baked still have like 2 grams of fat in them per serving, but I've had something before. I think at Trader Joe's they make like these blue ones where they're like 1.5 grams of fat per serving. So it's pretty low fat, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably like $6 a bag though in Trader Joe's.
I'm not even sure, but they're pretty good.
You don't look at prices when you shop, man?
I don't regularly buy those. That's like if I'm specifically in the mood for it, I'll pick it up. But I shop when I shop at Trader Joe's. I get the same thing every time I go shopping.
I still don't know why you go shopping at Trader Joe's. I really don't know. It's really double the price.
It's not though. I really don't spend. I don't spend much money there. I mean, yeah, if you're gonna just go get chicken breast from Trader Joe's, you're gonna spend more. But everything else I get is
Trader Joe's. Sponsored athlete you are.
I get so I go in. I make the same trip. I map out my walk in Trader Joe's. I walk in, I get the eggs first, then I get the meat. The meat is the turkey.
How much is the eggs there?
I get jumbo eggs. Jumbo eggs for like $1.50. So it's not bad.
That's not too bad of a
It's not bad at all. Because they're jumbo eggs too. They're very big. They're weird. These are like these eggs are like on steroids.
Just say they're organic.
These eggs are weird shaped too. They're like all different sizes, but they're humongous.
They look like rocks.
Yeah, they're all weird. Some of them come out and they look like aliens. They're like weird shapes, but whatever. It's got a lot of protein in them. So I get the eggs. I get the meat. The meat I always get. I get 99 ground turkey from Trader Joe's, and I get
how much you pay for that?
The 99 ground turkey. I think it's $5. It's $5 a pound. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cheaper. It's cheaper at Stop and Shop.
Yeah,
man.
no, you're gonna spend more at Trader Joe's. Yeah. But I just do that for convenience. I get that because I'm buying everything else in there. I get that, and I get 96 lean ground beef.
You buy 1 pack of each?
No, I get like 4 packs of each. So I'll get like 4 packs of turkey, four packs of ground beef. I'll get some cheese. I get the cheese over there. Then I go around. I swing around the aisle. I get every single lavish bread in stock. And I'm not kidding.
You love those breads.
I'm not kidding
I'm
when
not
I
a big
say
fan of them. I don't know why you like them so much.
No, I go through like 6 of those a day sometimes, and I'm not kidding
Why
either.
though? I don't know how you don't get tired of them because they don't really taste that good. That one that you get, they're good, they're decent, but I think that I've had other ones that are way better.
Well, I gotta have some of those then. I gotta try some of yours because I haven't had any that are this good. But
Wait, why do you like them so much?
I use them with everything. So like in the morning, I'll make my eggs and I'll wrap it in the lavish bread, so I have like an egg breakfast burrito with it. I'll use them to make little like flatbread pizzas as a snack too.
I'm doing that.
I'll use it literally with everything. I mean, I've even taken them sometimes, toasted them into crackers, made dip.
So that was the cool thing, right? Like that's why. Now tell me the bro reason why you use them.
Oh, it's got a load of fiber in there, and it's got a decent amount of protein, and the carbs are pretty low. So macros is like on a scale of 1 to 10 in the macro department and the micro department, it's like an 11.
Okay, so that's the real reason why.
No, but seriously, I love the taste of it. I don't eat any other bread besides that.
All right, continue on.
So once I get all that, I get every single pack of lavish bread they have in there. Then I swing around into the refrigerated section, and I get some frozen blueberries, some frozen broccoli, and some vanilla Greek yogurt. Then I pretty much just swing around and get the cheap stuff. So the cheap stuff is just the extra carb sources. So I'll get a bunch of jasmine rice. I'll get some whole wheat pasta. I'll get some cans of black beans. And that's pretty much going to cover everything I need. And anything else I get is just extra. So if I walk into Trader Joe's and I walk out with that, I completed my shopping. Anything else that goes in that cart, it was just because I was in the mood for it. I wanted to make something specific that night.
Let's do a shopping with Big Pete video. We might get kicked out of Trader Joe's again, but we should do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would only take me a few minutes. I'm in and out of there, but you know, we could see what other items are in there that I would buy. There's other things I do buy, like I said, but that's like those are the essentials, and then anything else is if I'm in the mood for it, if I see it and I want it, I'll get that. You know, but I walk in and out with that. If I just need to stock up on food for the week, that's what I'm getting.
All right, man. So again, guys, hope you enjoy the taco recipe. Again, as you can see, there's so many different varieties and different ways to do it. My personal favorite is the taco meat over the fries. Give that a try. You will not regret that at all. Especially if you get if you're dieting and you get the low calorie ones, you can even make your own potato fries. But so good, delicious. I actually wish I could have that right now. See, now you can tell I'm dieting, man.
Yeah, it's gonna kick in after a few days. You'll start feeling it. I'm not dieting, but I want some of those now myself too. I'm kind of hungry. I ate a huge dinner tonight, but I'm hungry again. Yeah,
I'm trying to be a good Catholic, man, and not eat my meat today. And that sounded really bad, but
yeah,
not eat meat today and trying to eat fish. So fish is not as exciting to make.
I mean, I guess if you stay up for another hour, you could eat it and not feel bad about yourself, right?
Oh yeah, that is true. It is true.
Damn.
Nice, Pete.
What?
I saw you checking out that girl's butt.
What? I was just checking out her yoga pants.
Pete.
I was thinking you'd look really good in yoga pants.
Uh-huh.
I was trying to check out what brand it was. I was looking at her form on deadlifts. They were all messed up.
Do you think she has a nicer butt than me?
Well, it definitely doesn't look like a pancake.
Did you just call my butt a pancake?
Well, I mean...
What can I do?
You gotta try New York Muscle Radio's Glutylicious program.
Glutylicious?
Yeah, you'll finally get a celebrity booty, like all the other girls following the program.
Fine, I'll do it, but don't get jealous when other guys check out my glutylicious ass.
Glutylicious, your guide to getting a celebrity booty in 12 weeks. Now available exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
What's up, New York Muscle Radio listeners? It's your co-host, Big Pete Kacharian, and I'm glad you're all listening. Put down that tilapia and asparagus. Learn how to get bigger, stronger, and leaner eating what you want. Pick up a copy of Cracking the Flexible Dieting Code exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com. But for now, let's get to the show.
All right, let's move on to the listener question of the day. Guys, if you have a question you'd like us to answer, you could submit it on our website, NewYorkMuscleRadio.com, so listener question. Or you can call your question in. Again, all the caller questions jump the list at 508-687-2534. And guys, you could even text in now. You could text in your question. This is how much ahead of the curve we are. You could text in your question to us. So take this number down, store it in your phone as New York Muscle Radio, 508. You're listening to this. Yeah, you right there. Yes, you. Take your phone out, put this in your address book, 508-687-2534. Go ahead. Oh, wait. Now store it as New York Muscle Radio. Go ahead. And make sure that anytime you have a question, any time of the day, you text that number. We will see it no matter what time it is, and we will do our best to answer it on the podcast. I got to find out I think I can reply. So if you're lucky, I'll reply to your question right away. So let's get to today's question. I have to just pull it up really quick here. 1 second. All right, here is today's question.
Hey guys, my name is Mario. Big fan, new to your podcast. My question is in regards to bulking. When I first started working out, I started about 130, 140 pounds. I'm 5'9", and I managed to attain 175 pounds. Realized I was kind of fat. I started dieting, applied the principles of calories in versus calories out. Lost 25 pounds, but didn't realize I had as much muscle as I wanted. Started bulking, and I gained back 26 pounds rather. However, I'm having difficulty getting past that 175 mark. Would you say that in order to add more calories, because it's getting to a point where eating clean is very difficult to add the weight that I need, would you recommend eating more, I guess, fast foods to up my calories? What did you guys do when you had to consume 5,000 calories a day to break those weight plateaus? All right, guys. Thank you. Look forward to hearing the response, and much success in your business. Good luck.
Thank you. That was a great question. Did he say his name?
He did. I missed it.
I missed it too. Hold on. Oh, come on, phone.
But that is a very good question, and it's one that we've struggled with.
My name is Mario.
Mario, good old
yes.
Mario. So thank you for calling in, Mario. We appreciate that. That's actually a good question.
Yeah.
And kind of fitting for today's topic, actually.
Yeah, and both of us can definitely relate to that. You probably more so than me, but I've definitely experienced that as well. And yeah, I mean, the short answer is the higher your calories go, you want to start eating more calorie dense foods. So yeah, you don't have to necessarily go for clean foods, but you don't have to go for fast food either. So for example, peanut butter is a great example. So 2 tablespoons to 16 grams of fat in it, as opposed to eating something that's very calorie dense for the amount of volume you're putting in your body. It's 2 tablespoons. Same thing with something like olive oil. So those are very calorie dense foods. They're not going to make you feel as full as eating something lower calorie, higher volume. So you need to try to cut out the high volume foods, especially when your calories are that high and you can't fit more food in your stomach because you're just so full. So you might even have to go the route. I've done this before. Anthony's done this before with carbohydrates. You might even have to start drinking them. When you're dieting, that's something you'd probably never consider doing because you want to eat your food and you want to feel full. But when you're bulking, you just got to get those calories down. So you want to start going for those calorie dense foods. Junk food is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not also the first thing I would go for. So I would go for those calorie dense foods first. And make sure you're eating the foods you like to begin with, so you're not, so you're going to have an appetite when you do them. But so what would you think that are some good calorie dense foods he could be eating? Because like I said, peanut butter is definitely one of them. Any type of fattier meats are better to go for, because again, if you eat 4 ounces of chicken as opposed to 4 ounces of ground chicken, you're going to get a lot more calories, but it's the same weight. It's the same volume. So you're going to get a lot more calories with the same volume. You're not going to have to eat more food. You're just eating higher calorie foods.
Yeah, I would recommend doing, eating those, like you said, the high calorie things. What I used to do was literally I would take my shake and add, peanut butter to it. Just literally add 2 tablespoons of olive oil to my shake, and it makes it so easy to get the calories in. One of the other things I was doing when I was really trying to put on weight and I was consuming so many calories, I would buy from like a wholesale club the big thing of cookie dough, and I would literally eat like a couple of tablespoons of that every day because it would be such a good way to get carbs and fat in. Granted, it wasn't the best, probably not the healthiest thing to do, but again, if you're trying to get those calories in, and you're only doing it for a short amount of time, it's okay to do that because you're trying to put the weight on. You're doing it for a reason. So that's what I used to do. That, the olive oil, whole eggs, cheeses, anything that's full fat. as far as carbs go, like I said, I would eat a lot of the tacos that I mentioned earlier. I would use the fattier meat. I would use the fries. I would use that with the cheese and stuff. So I would definitely get it in. The protein, and I would, at the time also, my protein was pretty high too, because I always feel like, especially for me, I have a fast metabolism. I max out my macronutrients so fast. I think the threshold for overall health and just optimizing your health is around 400 to 500 grams of carbs for me, 75 to 85 grams of fat, and probably around 230 to 250 grams of protein. That's where I feel like maxed out. That's where I feel like I could be healthy at that weight, at those macros, and I fulfill every bodily function that I need to function, hormones and everything like that. So when I'm bulking, I have to go over that because I have to gain weight. So if I push my fat to 100, it's so hard. And you can't always kind of want to, you don't want to go too much in one direction, but there's only so much you can actually do before you get to the point of no return. So in your case, like you said, like it's hard for you to pile down the calories. I would say go as hard as you can, really focus on pushing those calories, keep track of your calories, push them as hard as you can, and then sometimes take a step back and do a little mini cut so you get hungry again. Because the problem is when you consume that much food, you don't get hungry and you feel like shit. Think about like Thanksgiving dinner. You sit down for Thanksgiving dinner. Try doing that every meal. That's pretty much what it comes down to. One of the things I would also tell you too is to avoid weight gainer shakes by all costs, because those things will wreck your hunger for the whole day. You'll have one of those and you'll be done. And that's only 1,500 calories or 1,400 calories depending on the one that you're having, and you'll be done. You're not going to want to eat for like 5 hours after that. And that would really kill your day. So don't pick up those and just focus on just keep eating more food. Intra-workout carbs definitely help. You can have like 50 grams of carbs intra-workout, carbs before, carbs after. At that point when you're pushing the calories so high, definitely drinking more of your carbs definitely helps. Although I always felt like for me when I did that, which I did do, I used to have iced tea. For me, I just felt like when I did that, it just kind of sat on me. But it was just like the weight kind of just sat on me. But it could also be because I was over my threshold. Like I said, 400 to 500 grams of carbs I feel good with, and I don't feel like I get fat with those, quote unquote. When I push above that, I always kind of feel like it sits on me. Does that make sense, Pete?
Yeah, everybody's going to have a different point where they reach a threshold with carbs and the rest are pretty much just going to stick, because your body can only process so many and you only have a storage capacity for a certain amount. Once you fill that out, there's nowhere else for those carbs to go. Yeah, you're going to store them. You're going to stick them. It's going to stick to you. So, yeah, you want to find your limit. And then there's no need to go beyond that. I've said this before, too. A lot of times people keep pushing the calories because the scale's not moving. But there's definitely a point where your calories are high enough, even if the scale's not moving right now, where you're consuming enough calories to still grow. And then you have to just let that growth happen naturally. Try not to force it, because people always want to see, okay, I want the scale to go up half a pound a week or whatever it is, or every month I want to go up a pound. But the answer is not always going beyond where you are. Sometimes you're already maxed out with your calories, and the only thing you're going to do from now is just going to lay down fat.
Yeah. So I hope we answered this question. I think we did. One more thing that I want to mention too, and I mentioned it very, very shortly. Definitely go through a period of bulking where you do it for maybe 4 to 8 weeks, and then take some time off that. Go 2 to 3, 4 weeks of dieting. Give yourself that break so you also stay healthy. I mean, the goal is you don't want to get fat, because that's kind of puts you away. And once you get past a certain body fat, your body's prone to add more fat to that. So you don't want to get to that point. So I would say when you reach like 14% body fat, diet down a little bit to 12 and then redo it again. Kind of stay between that range. You don't want to go above a certain point, because then you're just going to be laying down more fat, and that's not going to be fun, and that's going to be more work in the long run. All right, let's move on to today's topic, man. Finally. We're getting so good at this podcast, man. We're taking so much time to getting into them.
Yeah, we actually finished the whole podcast, and now we're going to start another one.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so what should you do when starting out? Should you lose fat or gain muscle? So I would say the first thing you have to do is assess where you are now. Again, like I just mentioned before for the listener's question, if you're above a certain body fat point, if you're trying to gain muscle, you have to be in a caloric surplus, meaning you have to eat more. But if your body's over a certain percentage, you're just going to be laying down more fat doing that. Now, if you're a complete beginner and you start working out and doing cardio, your body will recomp really easy. You'll gain muscle and you'll lose fat at the same time. It's like a phenomenon that happens with someone who's new or has taken a long layoff of training. So what I would recommend, like I said, is maybe not starting out in a deficit and maybe not starting out in a surplus. Maybe starting out with maintenance calories and kind of ride that out and try to recomp right off the bat. So I would say, again, assess where your body fat level is. If you feel too fat, chances are you should start out dieting. And for me, as a skinny fat kid growing up, I probably should have started out dieting a little bit. If I would have listened to myself now, I probably would have dieted for like 4 to 6 weeks. I definitely would have gotten lean enough quickly, and then transitioned to a bulk. I would have gained so much more muscle right off the bat doing that.
Yeah, I agree. You can make both work. You can take somebody and make them cut first, or you can make them bulk first. There's pros and cons of both of them, but I have to definitely say that if I had to pick one in most cases, I would always say if you're over a certain body fat percentage, cutting is going to be so much more beneficial to do in the first place, just because, like you said, you're going to prime your body to actually build muscle. A body that has excess body fat on it is not primed to build muscle. It's actually primed to store more fat. So if your goal is to build muscle, even if it's not to get leaner, you're still going to build more muscle if you get yourself leaner first, because now you're priming your body to use those nutrients to go to muscle building rather than fat storing. So a person with excess body fat, if they consume a surplus of calories, they're more likely to store that as fat. Now, when they're leaner, they're going to be more insulin sensitive. They're going to take those carbs, they're going to take those proteins, and they're going to store them in the muscles. They're going to go for muscle building, more so than fat. So if we take somebody and their goal is muscle building, or if it's fat loss, they're going to benefit from being lean when they start. So if you're naturally very lean, go right into a bulking phase. You can go right into a surplus. If you're not, if you're carrying a little bit of extra body fat, diet down a little bit, get yourself in a good body fat range, and then work on the bulk.
Yeah, I think the hardest part that people have a lot of trouble with is, especially, for me anyway, if I would have told a younger me years ago, listen, Anthony, diet for 4 to 6 weeks, 8 weeks maybe, lose a little bit of body fat, and then start bulking up, I would have looked at myself and said, are you crazy?
Right.
Are you effing crazy is what I would have told myself. Pete, man, you're dying on me. You're dying. Wake up, man. I got so much energy. I got my second wind already. Wake up, man.
The other thing, too, is, like you said, when you first start training, too, you're going to get those newbie gains. So even if you take somebody and put them in a bit of a deficit and they're training hard, they're going to build some muscle. That's what I did. When I first started training, too, I was in a pretty big deficit. I still built muscle. I didn't build a lot of muscle. The amount of muscle I built was so much more significant after I started bulking. But when I first started, I definitely built muscle. I had no muscle when I started, but I got leaner. I started seeing some biceps, started seeing some pecs. I had a good build to me. But then when
you have good traps too. Did your traps respond right away?
I actually always just had traps. It was one of those things. I just said that. No, but it's not like they responded easily. Like I had them before I actually started working out. I didn't have I didn't really have I never had when I first started working out, I didn't have biceps. I didn't go into the gym with biceps. They grew very, very fast. They responded almost to anything I did. I actually just had traps genetically. So I think over the years they've just gotten bigger with everything else. They never really responded particularly to anything I did. So for me, that's how that was. But I started building a little bit of muscle when I first started going to the gym when I was dieting. But then when I kind of got down in the body fat and I said, all right, guys, it's time to bulk. I made progress really, really fast. Again, because I was a lot leaner, but I was also coming off of a pretty strict diet, so my body was just so sensitive to the insulin that whatever I did eat, I didn't overeat, but whatever excess I did eat, it went to muscle building because I was training really hard. I primed my body from a dieting phase, and I was lean, so it made building muscle that much easier. I didn't plan it out that way. It was just I worked it out in an ideal way without realizing what I was doing. Just so happened to be the way. Looking back now, it was the perfect strategy.
I agree, man. And like I said, going back to my situation, I was probably like 12% body fat. So I was still within that good range I could have bulked. But if I would have dieted first, I'm convinced I would have had better gains coming out of the gate. I guess at this point now, looking back at it, did it really make a difference? I don't know. Do you think it would have really made a difference to me if I would have started the other way around? Now?
For you, I don't think it would have. I don't think it would have for you. You probably would have ended up in the same place. But I think, like I said, so if you take somebody like me who had extra body fat when they first went into the gym, I probably would have spun my wheels for a lot longer, because when I would go to the gym and try to bulk, I wouldn't put as much muscle on as fast because I'd also be storing a little bit more body fat than I would have if I was lean. So it would have made my results come a lot slower in the beginning, and it probably would have been more discouraging, because there's nothing more motivating than when you first start seeing those results in the gym, especially if they're fast. When you get fast results when you first go in the gym, it motivates you, and you just keep going. You just get more motivated. So, the key to success with getting somebody in shape is getting them results fast when they first start. Because, if you don't see the results right away, you get a little discouraged. But when you see them coming fast, then it makes you want to put 110% effort into it. So I think it's good to see results really quick.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, especially for me in the beginning when I started, trying to gain muscle is like watching paint dry.
Yeah.
It's not something that happens really quick. And I'll never forget the first time I dieted down. So I pretty much bulked until I competed into bodybuilding. So as soon as I started competing in bodybuilding, the first time I dieted, I felt like I was seeing results every week. I was like, wow, this is great. I finally feel like I figured it out. And it was only just because I was getting leaner. So like I said, that's why kind of looking back on it, I'm like, I should have probably dieted first.
Yeah, I think you would have ended up in the same place. But again, it's going to depend on everybody and based on their goals.
Yeah. So again, I think that's the ideal spot. Again, if you're in that body fat range, I would say definitely to go at maintenance, maybe a little bit below maintenance. Don't be in a complete deficit and recomp first, and then see how you feel from there. If you're gaining muscle, just keep riding that on until you can't, and then diet down. You're going quickly back and forth between dieting and bulking is a good thing because, again, like I said, you're not going to get to the point of being too fat where you're just laying down fat. You'll get leaner, you get insulin sensitive, your body will respond better to putting muscle back on. So it's always good to transition between the two. You don't want to be doing, a lot of these guys talk about, and me myself, I'm including this, it's good to be an extended off season. And it is, but you have to still include, time in there where you're in a deficit because that's how again, no, the goal is to be able to do this forever. You're not trying to do this for 6 months, a year, and that's it. You're trying to do this forever. You're trying to maintain. You're trying to be healthy too. You don't want to kill yourself in the process. And for me, like I said, putting the weight on is a chore, and I have to really pound down the calories. And I'm not trying to get healthy, give myself high blood pressure and high cholesterol because I'm trying to gain weight. That'd be stupid.
Yeah, and that the thing is with the reason people get confused with that is bulking, like you said, it's going to take time. But also you can get results really quick with dieting. So you can go through short dieting phases and longer bulking phases, but you just have to keep moving in the direction that you're trying to go. So if your goal is long-term muscle growth, you can do longer bulking phases and shorter cutting phases because it doesn't take long to get the benefits of dieting, but you have to stay in a surplus for a decent amount of time to see any real muscle gain. So yeah, you want to spend more time bulking than you do cutting when that is your goal, but it's all dependent on what you're trying to do. So if you're just long-term, just want to keep building muscle, spend more time bulking, but keep those cutting phases in there. It's still going to benefit your bulk.
One of the other things that I want to talk about too is your routine. A lot of people, like I said, they start out and they ask that question, should I try to lose fat or gain muscle? The thing that's really going to change in that scenario is going to be the diet. The muscle is going to come on with proper training. There's no difference between if you're trying to lose fat or gain muscle in your workout routine. Your workout routine is always going to be the same because whatever builds muscle the best is going to maintain it the best. And you should always, and we talked about this so many times, something like the New York Strong program, which is found on NewYorkMuscleRadio.com, something like that is a progressive overload type program. It's programmed properly. You're always focusing on adding weight to the bar, and that's what's really going to make you grow. Again, even for women, you want to be able to grow muscle because muscle burns fat. And muscle is one of those things that really change your physique. If you just want to get skinny fat and get cardio body, like I call it, then you're just going to be one of those people that jumps on the treadmill and just does that stuff. And you don't want to be that person because that's not a cool look. So again, your program, regardless of which goal you end up choosing, should be the same. This is why, hypothetically, if you were a little fatter and started in a little bit of a deficit / maintenance, but started on a program like that, this is why you could start out gaining muscle right off the bat. So you'll end up changing your body composition as you're going through it.
Yeah, and something too that a lot of people don't talk about is when your training is proper like that and you're stimulating muscle growth, that's actually going to help you burn fat faster anyway. So if you are dieting and your training is actually stimulating muscle growth, your metabolism is going to speed up even more just because of the amount of work it has to take to repair itself from those hard training sessions. So you want to make sure that your training is optimal even if you're not trying to build muscle. So that'll help you burn fat even faster.
Yeah. Cardio, too, is one of those things that obviously it's going to be geared toward the person. Again, someone just starting out says, oh, I want to go into the gym, I want to lose fat, and they just do cardio. I mean, you were guilty of that, so you could attest to what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Or, in my case, I was like, oh, I'm trying to gain muscle. I don't need to do cardio. So that's going to also be dependent on your goals. But I could say that even if you were starting out and you want to lose fat or gain muscle, you don't even have to do the cardio, especially in the beginning. I would just focus on just the diet and just the training. I would get into the habit right away of learning how to train and learning how to diet, and then using cardio only when you need it. Because a lot of people just start with cardio right off the bat. Like, that's the first thing they do. And when I've heard this question before in the past, it was always like they meant, oh, should I just be doing cardio and losing the fat and then going and bulking up? You know how many times I've heard that?
Yeah, well, the problem is people always associate the cardio itself with the fat burning, and that's the problem. They don't understand that it's the calories in versus calories out that's going to be the big determining factor of whether they build muscle or they burn fat. So, the misconception I had, and I think a lot of people have, is I associated cardio with burning fat. So I figured, okay, if I want to build muscle, then I got to weight train, but if I throw cardio in at the same time, then I'll burn fat as well, And you and I both know that you can't do two separate things at one time and expect to have results with both of them.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more, man. I mean, do you have anything else you want to add to this? I think we kind of answered it.
It's pretty basic. I hope that actually helps some people out who have this question. I think they could figure it out based on that, what they should be doing. So in most cases, yeah, unless you're really lean to start with, just get yourself a little bit leaner, put yourself in an optimal body fat percentage to build muscle, and then go from there. Because you really only want, especially if you're not doing this to compete on stage, if you're not doing this to make transformations, if you're just doing this to better yourself over a long period of time, it's easier just to diet down one time, keep yourself lean, and then build muscle from there. You don't want to have to go through phases where you keep getting too fat that you got to lose weight again. And that's a problem a lot of people have. They go on these bulks, they just get themselves fat. Now, oh shit, now I got to diet to lose, I put 30 pounds on this bulk, I got to diet down and lose 25 of it, So if you stay lean,
that's not a cool look.
You stay lean, you add a little muscle over the course of the year, your weight's only going to go up a few pounds every year, but you're going to be making solid gains. Your physique's going to improve year by year, and you save yourself time by not having to go through suffering of long dieting phases.
Well said, my friend. Well said. All right, well, that was today's episode, man. I'm so excited. I can't wait for tomorrow, which is actually in 1 hour. One, because I can actually eat meat since we're Catholic and it's not Friday anymore. And two, because I'm actually going out to eat tomorrow night. My wife wants to go to an Italian restaurant. I haven't had Italian food, and I'm dieting, and tomorrow's my refeed day, so I'm kind of excited for that. That's how I know I'm dieting.
Macros to spare. Yeah, when you start thinking about food a day in advance, that's when you're dieting.
Yeah. Yep. I guess that's a good thing. All the good markers are happening. So, okay, guys, that was today's topic. Again, if you're a beginner and you're not sure if you should lose fat or gain muscle, again, like we said, basic information here. Eating a little bit of a maintenance and deficit recomp at first. Focus on your training and your nutrition. Try not to rely on cardio. And then if you feel fat, go with the diet part. If you feel like you need to gain muscle, go with that. But again, like I said, being in maintenance and a little bit below that will put you in a perfect spot for a couple weeks, and then just reassess that from there. All right, guys. And if you know someone who's looking to start out in the gym, don't forget to share this episode with everyone you know. This will help so many people, and it only helps our message when you guys share it. So please don't forget to share this episode and anything New York Muscle Radio with everyone you know. All right, man, your turn.
All right, guys. Pete and Anthony, New York Muscle Radio, and we're out.
Enjoyed this episode of New York Muscle Radio? Make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, New York Muscle Radio.